what people call going crazy when they're dealing with a narcissist is actually called a literal death threshold. And let me explain. This is not metaphorical. This is literal. It's psychological. It's identity based. It's attachment based. Because the second you identify narcissistic abuse, you are forced between a rock and a hard place. That is what causes that kind of death. You are literally forced to choose between your sanity, clarity, your power, and their games, their manipulations, their masks, and their lies. There is no in between. You're either in or you're out. There's nothing you can do to keep the illusion alive of peace. There is no trying to communicate better or win them over or change anything. There's no winning with a pathological clinical narcissist. It just doesn't work. I'm sorry to tell you, but this is to validate your feelings and to tell you that I have been there. And it is the hardest thing that so many people have to deal with, especially if it's their own spouse or their own family member. And that's why it feels like death. Because something has to die. The fantasies and the hopes for the relationship, any distortions of the truth, the hope that one day they'll change or one day something will give, that hope, the fantasies, the longing, it's dead. It's gone. So why is it so hard to leave a narcissist if it's so simple between making a choice? And here's the reality of it. It's because that level of identity, psychological, mental confrontation, it creates a reality of death in the nervous system. That vastness, the depth of change, the fundamental change, that removing yourself and cutting ties with a narcissist, it asks almost too much of the human nervous system. It's equivalent to death. And that's what I went through. You could see it on my fucking face. I can't believe that's what it was until I came upon this article about it. This is how it went down, and this is the nervous system processing narcissistic abuse. I was literally dying, and I had to choose between myself and my abuser. It is literal death. I'm trying to stay focused here. I am done minimizing my experience. Nobody can spiritualize it for me. Nobody's going to deflect it for me, or trying to intellectualize it or pathologize it. You know, what happened was my own psyche was the last-ditch attempt at saving my life, and it did save my life. It saved me from believing the illusion. It saved me from the 10 more years, if I had that, of pain and suffering of this abuse that I endured on a daily basis for many, many years. And for most people, it is psychologically easier to stay in denial because clarity at this fucking level is simply unbearable. I don't know how I did it. I couldn't have done it without cortisol supplements to lower my cortisol or my magnesium that I highly depend on to get sleep. It knocks me out. And I wake up with all this anxiety, but at least I can function because I can take the magnesium again to calm me back down. Anyway, this is the threshold where reality splits, and this is why narcissism is so covert. And it is one of the biggest epidemics in our society right now, from what I'm reading and from what I'm listening to, with all these professionals that have way more knowledge than I ever have. I just have first-hand knowledge of what I went through because I was with one of the worst malignant narcissists that's ever walked this earth. I swear to God, he's a psychopath. No fucking joke. And I'm mad at myself because it was so hard to overcome and so hard to see through. And I know I have to give myself grace. I walked through fire. I'm trying to give myself some grace.